sometimes these locations are underperforming just because the owner's busy, as two other businesses, and really not dedicating the time. You get in what you put out, right? You get in what you put out, generally speaking, assuming that you have the right franchise brand. I think that's part of the power of a franchise system is, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 5. When my wife and I opened our first franchise, I didn't know what the store would do in year 1, but there was a lot of growth and development happening in our area and construction and houses being built. So my hypothesis was that by year 3, we could do a pretty strong amount of sales in that store. It turned out that we wind up getting profitable in year 1 because of the pent-up demand. But by year 3, the store sales went up pretty significantly. Okay, this is an interesting opportunity. Here's why I want to say this. Welcome to our Franchise Empire newsletter, where we highlight one franchise of the week as well as one franchise resale that is listed for sale somewhere in the United States. If you want to get these franchises in your inbox every single week to read at your convenience, you can go to franchiseempire.com/newsletter to subscribe for free. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Franchise Empire Show. They say Rome wasn't built in a day, and building your empire doesn't happen overnight. My name is Tarek Johnson, and owning franchises is what helped me go from employee to employer and start building my empire for my family. So this podcast is for you, the empire builders. For those of you who want to build something that stands the test of time. This is for those of you who are crazy enough to believe that you can make the dream in your head come to life. This podcast is all about bringing you real people who are building real empires so you can get inside their mind and heart and get proven strategies and actionable insights that will catapult you to build, grow, and scale your empire. Today is Monday. It's actually Labor Day, and we are going to dive into today's newsletter going to talk about a senior care franchise with 10 million in gross sales and a resale for less than 200,000. Apologies for being a little bit late today. Besides the fact that it is a holiday, our whole team is off. No one is working today. But I've been sick in bed for the past couple of days. I got out of bed, came into the office just to do this newsletter. So that's why I'm a little bit late. So hopefully for those of you watching, definitely give this a like on YouTube. You could probably hear how nasally I am right now. But I'm going to hammer through this one quick since I'm not feeling well. But we're going to cover a low-cost franchise that shows average revenue of about 1.4 million. This is for franchisees open 60 months plus. That top franchisee shows 10 million actually in sales too. We're going to go through a franchise resale for less than 200 grand with a strong brand. A franchisee that's seeing quick success. And last but not least, the interview with the CEO of the Franchise Brokers Association. For those of you who are just tuning in, stopping by, maybe first time, we actually send you this whole newsletter via email for free Sundays at 8 a.m. So if you want to get this in your inbox, go to franchiseempire.com/newsletter and we'll send it to you for free. I had a question for you guys, actually. So we realized that a lot of people are very interested in buying resales. So we are considering putting together a course on how to secure off-market franchise resales on your own. Like, we teach you how to do it. Because there is some opportunities to secure off-market resales. Obviously, there'd be a cost to it. But if you have any interest in something like that, let me know. So you can just send, if you have interest in like a resale course that teaches you how to find off-market resales, email clientcare@franchiseempire.com and let us know. All right, so the resale that we're going to cover today is 5 Star Painting, which is a Neighborly company. If you're not familiar with Neighborly, they are the largest home services franchisor, I believe, in the world, but definitely in the United States. They have about over 20 different franchise brands. So Mr. Handyman, 5 Star Painting, I think Precision Garage, lots of them. So they've been franchising since 2007. They have 230 units throughout the country. This specific location is in Sarasota, Florida. Asking price is $199,900. There looks like their open offers overall. Their 2023 revenue was $660,000. They opened July of 2018. They serve residential and commercial customers. They have 2 employees, and the owner has 2 other businesses and does not have time to dedicate to this franchise. Okay, this is an interesting opportunity. Here's why I want to say this. We had a client that bought a 5-star painting franchise in a similar scenario in a different market. He was able to get it for less than $100,000. And because the business was in a similar situation where the owner had another business and wasn't dedicating the time. The business was drastically underperforming. What I can share without sharing specific financials, to remain compliant, our client who bought that franchise, um, he was able to turn it around and do very well because he went full time into the business right away. Um, and I know he had increased sales 100% year over year from that previous owner. So it just shows how sometimes these locations are underperforming just because the owner's busy, has 2 other businesses, and really not dedicating the time. You get in what you put out, right? You get in what you put out, generally speaking, assuming that you have the right franchise brand. So this has been on the market for several months. Yeah, like 5-star painting is a solid brand under the Neighborly umbrella. And the item 19 shows an average job size for painting projects to be 4436. So I guess they don't show average sales or annual sales, but that is what they show, average job size. I don't know. Our team put together the newsletter. So I don't know what they pulled from the FDD. They usually have a subcontractor model to do the actual work, and that can keep your overhead and salaried labor low. And if interested in this resale opportunity, we suggest understanding the current employees' roles in the business and how many subcontractors the business has in rotation to utilize. Lastly, Sarasota is a fast-growing area with a lot of potential. Seems like an opportunity to get into a turnkey home services franchise and grow it quickly. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with all of that. If you guys are interested in this specific franchise resale, if you're in the Sarasota market or maybe have an interest in relocating, then go to franchiseempire.com/resales. You can input your info, schedule a quick meeting with our team who will make sure that you can qualify for this and that you have the right financials, and then we can make the introduction. Or if you're just interested to see what resales may be available in your market, period, then that's something that we can assist with as well. So franchiseempire.com/resales. Okay. So our team have looked into a few hundred franchises and put together a list of 5 low-cost franchises that all make $1 million or more and that have a proven track record of both happy and profitable franchisees. So if you have a net worth of at least $150,000 and you want to see if the territory that you want is still available for any of these franchises, then you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. All right, let's get back to the episode. Client case study. So about a year ago, we had a guy come to us who was in software sales and was looking at franchises for a while and was stuck in the process. I obviously had a little typo there. He didn't realize how to find, or he didn't really know how to find or vet the franchises. He was doing research on his own, not really making progress, and he had some doubts around not just if he could find the right franchise, but if he could succeed. So he joined our Zero to Profitable Franchise Mastermind. In less than 90 days, he became a franchisee. I just got a text that less than a year into his business, he had a month doing $150,000 in sales, which is crazy. So it's really something for the average person that wants to be an entrepreneur. It's hard to pull off like a month like that, less than a year in your business without a system that a franchisor provides. Is it possible? Yes. I know brilliant entrepreneurs who start from scratch, but I think that's part of the power of a franchise system is, knowing where to get your leads, just having the playbook and the blueprint and having to skip through all that figure it out stuff. And of course, to maintain compliance, we're not going to share the exact franchise brand, as we can only share numbers that are in the franchise disclosures documents item 19. So we're going to keep that mysterious and unknown. Okay. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them below. Franchise of the week is Senior Helpers. And so this franchise started in 2002 in Baltimore, began franchising in 2005. So they've been franchising for 19 years now. And they had a few name changes and acquisitions over the last 20 years. Parent company is SHF Acquisition. Again, the team put this together, and Kevin's not with me today, so I don't know who that is. They have 5 corporate-owned territories. I love to see that, because what that shows is that, obviously they're a buyer of what it is that they're selling. And they know what it's like to be a franchisee, because they're out there running their own business units. But they have 333 franchise units. Guys, keep in mind that franchise units and franchisees are a different number, because a lot of the times, let's say if the average franchisee has 2 units, 2 territories, then they'd have about 165 franchisees. If that makes sense, because franchisees will own multiple units. Franchise fees, $55,000. Royalty is $5,000. National marketing fee, 1% to 2%. Startup costs between $127,000 and $171,000 to get up and open. The numbers we grabbed from the 2024 FDD. So a lot of senior care businesses out there. We've covered a lot. They provide various non-medical care and personal assistant services, primarily for elderly individuals. This could include companion care, bathing, dressing, grooming, personal hygiene, light housekeeping, meal planning, etc. So they're focused on the non-medical care side of it, not the medical care side. Hey, so if you want to figure out if you should buy a franchise and learn the fastest and easiest way to figuring out the best franchise to buy and everything you need to know about the process, then you'll want to go get access to our Franchise Buyers Academy. In our Franchise Buyers Academy, you'll get a behind-the-scenes look into specific franchises and exactly how much money they are making. You'll get simple formulas for finding money-making franchises and a blueprint on how to scale them into a franchise empire that can be sold for a lot of money later on. You'll be able to finally answer the question on, should I buy a franchise? Now you can get access at franchiseempire.com/FBA. Now let's get back to the episode. When we look at their FDD, so this is where we got some of the numbers from. So I like the way they break it down, and in terms of for how long the business has been open for. I'll talk about why I think this is important in just a second. So there are 226 franchise businesses, I would imagine units, that have been open for 5 years plus. The range of revenues between 116,000 to 10.8 million, which is a dramatic range. My goodness, that is just a massive range. But the average is about 1.5, so 1.49, and the median, the number right in the middle, is about 1.2 million. And so what's interesting here is, actually, I'll talk about this in just a moment. So those are for people open 60 months or more. If you're open 48 to 59 months, so just between 4 and 5 years, there were 14 of these businesses. So obviously a lot of the franchisees are legacy franchisees that have been operating for 5 years or more. These franchisees range from $125,000 in revenue to $3.1 million. The average is just over $1 million. The median is $880,000. Then 3 years to about 4 years, there's 15 of them, ranges between $70,000 to $1.5 million. Average annual is $719,000. The median is $627,000. Oh, this is interesting. Then you got 2 to 3 years. You got someone who did 2.2 million. So between 195,000 and 2.2 million. The average annual is 971 and the median is 932. And there's 22 of these. Wow, interesting. So it's interesting that the average and the median is higher for the group from 2 to 3 years. And then 12 to 23 months open, there's 24 of them. And they did a range of $31,000 in sales to 1.4 million. Average gross revenue of 589,000, median of 431. And so this aligns with what I always say to people, which is that it takes about 3 years for your business to reach maturity. So if you are someone who wants to get into franchising or start a business to make a lot of money in the first year, then you probably should not own a business. You should probably stay away from it. Man, there's a quote out there. I first heard Tony Robbins say it, which is most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 5. When my wife and I opened our first franchise, uh, I didn't know what the store would do in year 1, but there was a lot of growth and development happening in our area and construction and houses being built. So my hypothesis was that by year 3, we could do a pretty strong amount of sales in that store. It turned out that we wind up getting profitable in year 1 because of the pent up demand and because of a couple of unique things about that location. But by year 3, the store sales went up pretty significantly. And so when we look at these numbers here and we see that, okay, the median is 431, 589 average between year 1 to year 2. And then, you really start to look at year 2 to around year 3 and what these numbers look like, it's pretty significant. And then, when you really start to look at, okay, year 4 and year 5, wow, they're like totally different numbers. So it just shows that if you have a longer term mindset with your business, then you're going to put yourself in the best position to succeed. I think a lot of people talk themselves out of entrepreneurship because they're so focused on what they could or couldn't do in the first year or 2. And so if you just widen out your time horizon and go, okay, well, let me focus on what I can do year 3 to 5, you're going to put yourself in a better scenario. So have a longer term time horizon and focus. And so if it means you have to keep your job while you're getting your business up and running or get it up and running for the first year, go all into it and then go back and get a job, those things are all okay. Anyways, some of the benefits of this franchise, Senior Helpers is the only brand that has national agreements that provide our franchisees with client leads through a Place for Mom and KarenHomes.com. Interesting. That's pretty cool. They have one-on-one support. So as a new franchisee, you'll be connected with an operations manager, provide you with one-on-one support for up to 20 hours a week for the first 3 months of your business. Wow, that's pretty cool. Recurring revenue, right? So obviously recurring revenue is a nice component. Demand in 2021, the first baby boomers reached the age of 75, the age when seniors' likelihood of required in-home care starts to rapidly increase. And this means that the peak demand for in-home care among this generation is only starting, and over the next 10 to 20 years, senior care needs are expected to grow dramatically. They have a unique life profile Unique life profile is a data-driven assessment tool that provides a holistic view of the risks, needs, and factors that influence the ability to age at home. It helps to reduce the risk of an unsafe occurrence or hospitalization by over 70%. Pretty cool. Pretty interesting. So if you're interested in this specific brand, you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. Here, that's what I meant to put up. And our team can check and see if they're available in your market. And if you just want to see what franchises are available in your area, you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. Okay. Last but not least, on the Franchise Empire Show, which is our podcast, I did a podcast with the former multi-unit franchisee to the CEO of the Franchise Brokers Association, Sabrina Wall. Really awesome episode. Sabrina is just a quality individual. She had built the second largest franchise system for commercial cleaning franchise in Central Florida, along with a partner. And so if you want to go watch that episode, you can look up. We actually just changed the name of the YouTube channel to just Franchise Empire. So if you just type in Franchise Empire in YouTube, you can go follow that YouTube channel. That's where we put those podcast episodes, or wherever you listen to your podcast, and whatever podcast platform that you listen to, you can go check it out. And that is about it. So I think pretty easy enough for today. Hope you guys have a great Labor Day. Thanks for tuning in today. And yeah, give this video a like if you're watching on YouTube. Again, I just hopped out of bed. I've been sick, was in bed all day yesterday and this morning, but I wanted to follow through on my commitment of doing this newsletter. So I hope you guys got value and enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one. Hey, before we go, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't already. And the biggest thank you that you could ever give me is to share this episode with someone who you think will benefit. That means that we can share this message with more people and hopefully positively inspire them like we have you. So thank you. And until next time, go build your empire.